Welcome back, I'm Kayvon Izami, and we are live here in Mountaineer country as the West Virginia Mountaineers are going home with a victory in the backyard brawl. The Pitt Panthers came here this time, and the West Virginia Mountaineers went home with a win. Remember, last year, the Mountaineers went to Pitt and lost. This time, Pitt came here, and West Virginia fans, the West Virginia team, the players and the coaches are going home happy. There's a ton of storylines in this game. If you were looking for offense, you didn't get it. But if you were looking for storylines, you got those. And we'll break those lines down in a minute. But first, let's run the highlights as we roll that tape, baby. And we start things off early on here. The crowd was as hype as you would expect. There was everybody filled in the arena. The stadium was completely packed, and everybody was standing up and cheering the entire time. The crowd lived up to the hype. Look at Pitt Panther feeling himself early on, flexing on the West Virginia fans, hoping to come out with a win. West Virginia and Pitt battled it out early, and this was the biggest storyline to start the game. Quarterback Garrett Green went down early in the first quarter and got hurt. Pitt, though, they came out running the ball. They came out running and pounding the ball, and it worked for the most part until they got into Mountaineer territory, and the rest the defense did from there. They got turnovers and turnovers. So, redshirt freshman Nico Morichal had to come in the game to starting quarterback for West Virginia, and he lived up to it. He did everything Neil Brown asked him to do, as the defense right here for West Virginia gets the first pick of the game, and that is Audrey Banks. He runs it all the way inside the 5-yard line, and then here is the redshirt freshman Nico Morichal, who hits Cole Tucker on the slant pass and rolls right into the end zone, and that's the first touchdown of the game. At that point, West Virginia went up 7-3, and their defense really held them from there. This is right before halftime, 2 seconds left, and Pitt kicks a field goal to bring it to 7-6. Second half now. Marichal hands it off to C.J. Donaldson, and C.J. Donaldson powers his way inside the 2-yard line. And once he gets in the 2-yard line, you gotta let him finish it from there. He goes in head first, he scores, and that puts them up 14-6. Now, Jurovkic for Pitt throws it up, but guess what? Beanie Bishop, this time it's his turn to have an interception. He picks him off, and he's running all the way back, and this is what I was talking about with the defense. Just rolling all night long, and then this was the last score of the game. The Mountaineers chip on to a field goal. They score the field goal, and that goes up to 17-6. The storylines were plentiful. As you can hear, the band is still playing behind me here. Some fans are even still here. It's incredible. So this is what happened. As I said, the starting quarterback, Garrett Green, he got hurt. And the redshirt freshman, Nico Morichal, had to come into the game as a redshirt freshman. He was poised, he was calm, and he did everything head coach Neil Brown asked him to do. He handed the ball off to C.J. Donaldson. He read his reads, and he really felt the crowd give him that energy. And the crowd was electric all night long. They really picked up this team and led them to victory. 17-6, the Mountaineers win. We'll be back with more right after this from Morgantown. Welcome back to Morgantown. I'm Kayvon Izami. We're live here in Mountaineer Stadium. What a night this was. Neil Brown and the West Virginia Mountaineers are going home 2-1 on the season, but that 2 is a big win because they beat their rivals. It's the backyard brawl, and they sent their rivals back to Pitt with a loss, and that's so big. Coming into this game, there was so much talk about Neil Brown. He's in his 4th season. Has he been able to get a lot of things going? And he needed to win this game, according to a lot of people, for him to be able to keep pushing this team along. He came out and he was able to go over really big trials and tribulations throughout the process. Think about this. Their quarterback, who was practicing all week long, Garrett Green, went down in the first quarter. So redshirt freshman Nico Marichal had to come in and take over from there as a redshirt freshman. And he stayed poised, he stayed calm, and they got the lead early. I said all week long, if they can get the lead early, this crowd will pick them up. And this crowd was electric. It was one of the best crowds I've ever seen at a college football game. It was packed from head to toe and all the way around. You couldn't see a Pitt fan in here. It was all West Virginia fans. They lived up to the hype. And now the West Virginia Mountaineers are 2-1 on the season, and that's huge. I want to talk about the defense, though, because the defense held Pitt to 6 points. They didn't allow him to score a single point in the second half. 0 points in the second half of Goose Egg. That is phenomenal job. 2 interceptions, and they held up to 86 passing yards. 86 passing yards in a football game in this era is a really hard job to do, and that's what this defense did. So hats off to West Virginia, hats off to Neil Brown, hats off to Nico Marichal for coming in and replacing Garrett Green, and hats off to the West Virginia Mountaineers defense for putting together one of the best defensive performances we have seen so far this season. That's how they won the game, and the crowd helped them out from there, and the West Virginia Mountaineers are going home happy. Morgantown will be partying all night long, and it's going to be a fun place to be. I'm reporting live here in Morgantown. Kayvon Izami with WOAY. We'll be back with your final forecast right after this.